Brad Chandler Coaching presents the Real Estate Investing Hot Seat podcast. Stop working for someone else and get the support you need to make it as an investor. Having been part of over 2,000 deals, Brad Chandler will train you to buy and sell houses without making expensive mistakes. Learn about the good, the bad, and the ugly of investing from experience earned in the trenches as Brad coaches real investors how to find real success.
So welcome to the Real Estate Investing Hot Seat. Today we've got an awesome guest named Greg Helbeck from New York. Greg, welcome to the show.
How are you, Brad? Thanks for having me.
I'm awesome. Can you just give us a 15-second, 30-second overview of kind of your experience with real estate investing and then go into what do you think are your biggest obstacles? What's keeping you from reaching your goals?
All right. So kind of stumbled into real estate about a year and a half ago. I saw a YouTube video back when I was 20 about this guy talking about flipping properties without any money. And then a week later, I got a postcard in the mail, ironically, about a seminar in town. There was some guru coming into a city near me. Ended up going to that seminar, and they knew what they were doing when it came to sales, and they ended up selling me on a program. Got a 3-day boot camp, and me and my buddy split it, and we put some skin in the game. So at that point, we kind of realized we got to take this thing seriously, and ever since then, I've just kind of been taking a lot of action and making a lot of mistakes and learning, and been a part of like 14 deals now. Not all of them were with my own marketing. Some of them were like doing deals with local mentors or, doing some co-wholesaling. So I definitely have a decent amount of experience now. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
And Greg, how old are you?
Just turned 22 last week.
All right, so 22 and you've done 14 deals, man. You sound a little ho-hum about that. You ought to be like pumped. There are so many 22-year-olds. I hadn't done 14 deals when I was 22. So awesome job. What you did is you got some education, and then unlike a lot of people, you freaking took action. So congratulations on that, man.
Thank you.
So let's jump right in because I want to help you out. I want you to reach all your goals with in real estate investing and in life. So what are your goals and what are your obstacles that you're currently facing that are stopping you from reaching these goals?
Okay. So in terms of I like to look at this business and just kind of entrepreneurship and investing as like micro and macro. So I would say within the next year to 5 years, I really want to have myself a business that I can do in New York and then also in other markets once I can, learn how to leverage my time correctly, where I can really, be taking down 5 to 10 houses a month and being able to really generate some good revenue and net income so I can, obviously have a business running that can serve me. And then also having enough money where I can save it every month. Because the macro game I really want to get into with real estate is getting into apartments and buying apartments and doing that kind of stuff. And that's kind of the stuff I want to get into within 10, 15 years. And I think with flipping houses, you can really generate it because it's basically sales and marketing. You can generate that income, with those high margins when you know what you're doing, where you can really, have a business running efficiently and also if you're smart with your money, save enough money to really, kind of get the foot in the door into the next step, which would be having the capital to do syndications and buy apartments and do all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at in macro and micro perspective. Okay,
awesome. So where are you at right now in terms of you want to get to 5 to 10 deals a month? In what time frame do you want to get to 5 to 10 deals a month?
So that's a good question. Basically, I'm at the point now where, I've been a part of 14 deals, like I said. Not all of them were my leads. Some of them were with mentors and I got acquisition fee, but I've made money 14 times so far. So I know it works. But I'm really at the point now where I have some money to market every month. And, I just really don't have my numbers dialed in and the systems down where I can say, okay, if I do X, Y, and Z based on the data and the numbers, I can literally do a deal a month, based on some of these numbers and some of this and some of that. And then every month I can say, okay, as long as I take these controllable actions, I can actually do a deal this month. And then once I find out how to do one, then I can kind of get it to 2, and then I can kind of have it snowball from there. So I'm kind of at the point now where I'm still paying my dues. I'm still spinning my wheels quite a bit. And I'm at the point now where I know if I do 1 or 2 things and really tweak them and be a little bit more persistent and maybe get 1 or 2 more nuggets that I just don't know now, I think that really can help guide me to really getting this dialed into a process every month. And then from there, kind of going from there. So that's where
the more specific you can get your goals, the more likely that you're going to reach them, as well as if you tell those goals to other people. And then finally, if you have someone hold you accountable, you'll even reach a higher level of success. So just give me, are you hoping to do 5 deals 2 years from now, a year from now, 6 months from now?
I want to be buying 5 houses a month consistently 2 years from now. Like have that 2 years from now, I think. And then within the end of this year, like, so in terms of like by the end of 2017, so by December, I want to be able to reverse engineer 2 deals a month, like it's clockwork, as long as I'm doing marketing and the sales and all that stuff. But right now I'm at the point, so what is it, May now? I'm like barely scraping by a deal a month. I just had a deal fall through last week. That would have been my deal for April. I did one in March. And it's May now, so I'm working on some deals this month. So I'm like at the crisp of a deal a month, but there's really no consistency or predictability.
Okay, awesome. So you've got it really dialed in terms of really smart for you to say you've got to know your KPIs, which is short for key performance indicators. I don't know if it's Dan Kennedy or Frank Kern that said this, but marketing is the greatest vehicle in the world because you can put in $1 and get back 3 or 4 or 5 or 10, whatever it is. And you can do it predictably. You can't do that on Wall Street. You can't do that with anything else. So marketing is amazing. The second really smart point you made is that sales and marketing. I say that all the time and have said it for years. We're really a sales and marketing company. Why does Express Home Buyers do 200 plus deals a year? Why has Express Home Buyers been able to do close to 2,200 deals since 2004? We're really, really good at a couple things, and that's sales and marketing and lead follow-up. So you've definitely got that figured out. Now you got to dial in. It sounds like you're doing. What are you doing? So we're almost in June, midway through May. How many deals have you done this year?
So far in the pipeline, let me just look at my deal board real quick. Two now. So that's 2 deals so far. And then it was going to be 3, but 1 fell out of contract last week. And I have like 3 that are like really warm. Like we just got to wait for the accepted offers to come in. So closed down so far, only 2 deals so far that have actually like closed where there's revenue coming in. So a deal every other month at this point, and that's getting me I'm not too happy about that.
Okay. And last time we talked, did you tell me you're still a full-time student or are you done with school?
I'm still in college. Yeah, I'm still in college. The semester just ended like last week, and I got one more like semester, and then like I'm gonna do an internship or some type of thing where I'm just gonna like work with a local guy and get the credits up there, and then I can have my degree so I can officially do this full time. So
okay, so more kudos to you. The guy, you've done 14 deals and you've been a full-time college student. So awesome job, Greg. Okay, so let's dive into what's not working. What are you doing from a marketing standpoint, and what are you? How much are you spending on it? How much are you mailing out? How much does it cost you? Just give me an overview of what are you doing to make the phone call come in or the lead come in.
Okay, so I'm spending around $2,000 a month on advertising. And then it kind of varies. This is where I'm really feel like I'm just rolling the dice with the marketing. I'm like 1 month I'll send like 5,500 postcards, and then I'll have Pat Live answer the phone and, the leads kind of trickle through. And then the next month, because I think I made a mistake with the list. So then I sent like 2,000 letters, but it was a different list. And then the next month I'll send 5,000 postcards. And like every month, I'm just like, okay, well, I still have this money from these deals, and I know this is going to work, but sometimes I guess you're going to have to learn the hard way. And I'm just saying at this point, like, the worst that can happen is I lose all my marketing money, and I gain a lot of wisdom the hard way. And the best thing that can happen is the deals will start to pop through. So I'm just looking at it every month with the advertising and the direct mail. Like, I'm either going to do a deal this month off the numbers, or I'm going to learn a hard lesson that I'll be thankful for in 5 years, So I would say roughly about, if you're going to take the average of 5,000, 2,000, say 3,200 units a month of direct mail. So okay.
But you're spending about $2,000 a month?
About $2,000 a month consistently now, $2,000 bucks a month.
So if you're mailing 3,200 letters or postcards?
Well, 1 month it would be like 5,500 postcards, and they're a lot cheaper. And then the next month I'd spend $2,000, but it would be letters instead, and those are like 78 cents a unit. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So
Okay.
it just kind of varies, and that's where I'm just get really kind of nervous when I start spending the marketing money.
Okay. And remind me what market you're in New York. What market are you actually targeting?
So I live about an hour north of Manhattan. I live in Orange County, where the median home is about 250. I'm sending mail to Westchester County, which is a better market in terms of inventory, and houses move really quickly down there. But the median home price down there is around 550 grand. And then the other two counties that I've done transactions are in Rockland County, where it's a high end area. North of Bergen County, New Jersey, median homes around 440, and then in Dutchess County, which is east of me, sorry, that's just like Orange County where I am. So that's like 250 median home price, solid market. So really two counties are high end. Two of them are like, median 250. So those are the four counties that I'm in and that are surrounding me. So that's where I'm sending my advertising to.
Do you have any idea what the population of those four counties are together?
Westchester's around 900. Rockland's about, I think it's like 350 or 400. Dutchess is around 300, and Orange is around 300. So it's not like I'm in like Maricopa County where there's 5 million people and I can just start hammering out mail. So it's a tight, the thing with me is, and I'm starting to learn this the hard way, New York City, tri-state area, it's pretty big, but from where I'm at, from a demographic standpoint, it's a pretty tight market from what I've seen so far.
So it's very interesting that you're saying that you're spending $2,000 a month and you're getting a deal every other month. Our cost per deal falls into the $4,000 to $7,000 range. So you're not doing anything wrong. We just need to dive a little deeper to talk about consistency and what you can do to increase those numbers. But you're not doing too bad. I would probably like to ask you some more questions about the actual market size. But the high-end market where you said the average median price was 550, as opposed to those other counties where you said 250, I would definitely, until you're dialed in, I would definitely remove the 550, because it's always easier to find good real estate deals around the median, a normal median, and not something that high.
Okay.
So tell me what you're mailing. So you already told me a postcard and a letter. Mm-hmm. We only do postcards. And we only do postcards because we're sending them out at like 31, 32 cents. And you can imagine how much more volume you can do with postcards. I am involved in a mastermind group of the top real estate investors from around the country. And some of the top guys are mailing 250,000 pieces a month. And it's all postcards. And he's tested letters. We've tested letters. So my advice to you would be get rid of the letters for now. Focus on the postcards. What is the list, and let's just start with that. What's the list? And then second question would be, what's the message?
Okay. So the list so far, I have like a whole master spreadsheet I use. A high equity list. Within that master list, we got an absentee list. Kent Clothier's Find Motivated Sellers Now, vacant list. Tax defaults are in there. They're very small. They're about 300. That's where my best deal ever came from, the tax delinquent list. What else? Then I did another high equity list, but it was in the 250 median home value and under, because I kept mailing the high end guys, and they just were telling me to basically, they were telling me that they were not interested at all, and I got worried. So then I pulled a new list, and then I have another inheritance U.S. lead list, Lance and Terry out in San Diego. So those.
Okay, so when you say high equity, Greg, what do you, when you pull your list, what are you pulling?
The first time I did it, it was just, I went on ListSource, did high equity, and then I just made sure people were over 55. I didn't know anything. This was like back in September when I just really was super naive to direct mail. I didn't do anything regarding median home or anything. I just thought, all these zip codes made sense, and I was mailing people and their houses were literally worth like $1 million in Westchester County. But the big thing that I looked for was equity, not days on market. What is it called? Last market sale date. So they lived in their house for at least 15 years. And that was kind of it. And I just rolled the dice. So that's
so
really
when you say high equity, they allow you to pull a percentage. Do you recall what the percentage was? Were you doing 70 to 100? Were you doing 50 to 100?
It was I think it was equity. 60 to 100% equity.
Okay. 60% equity is awesome. I love the other list that you're pulling. So that's great. I've heard repeatedly that some of the people around the country, other investors, we don't target. We've only targeted tax delinquents one time, and it worked out okay. We've got to start doing more of it. So the tax delinquent, you should definitely be working on. When you pull a list, let's say you pulled a list today, how many times do you mail to that list?
That's a good question, because when I first got started, I would do the direct mail manually. Like literally, I would just stuff envelopes for 2 hours a day, and that's how I ended up getting my best deal ever, which led to all this mail now. So I'm trying to think. The tax delinquent list, I've been mailing them like 5-6 times. Hit them 5 or 6 times so far since September, I believe. So September. The first high equity list, I've mailed them 5 times now. The second high equity list I pulled that had the lower median home value, they're getting their 4th piece for me now, because I'm having a drip campaign happen, this week. So I'm on my probably 4th drop since I've really been marketing heavily since September or October.
Okay.
So I'm kind of at that point now where they should start popping, hopefully.
So that's awesome. I mean, you're doing a lot of great things, Greg. A lot of investors will start mailing, and then they don't get a response on the first one or the second one, they quit. Folks out there, when you're planning your marketing budget, you got to look at what can I spend per month over the next 6 months, and then you back into how many postcards that you can send. To tell you a story that's very pertinent, my sister was a stay-at-home mom in 2005, 2006 in Charlottesville, Virginia, a small town, and she didn't have any money to market, so I was actually having her pull tax from the tax assessment website in Charlottesville, people who owned their home for more than 20 years and were absentee. So I got a call one day on my cell phone, and the lady says, I was not planning on selling my house, but I just got your 7th letter, so I guess I'll sell. She had a renter in there, wasn't paying, didn't want to kick him out, and I bought it. I got the tenants out. I think I cleaned it out and listed it. I made like $42,000. So consistency. You've got to mail at least 5 times. If you can't mail 5 times, you're wasting your time. So that's great that you're doing that. What about the marketing? What is the message that you're delivering to these people?
So on the postcards so far, it's the only postcards I've ever sent so far were like handwritten kind of yellow letter postcards saying, "Hey, I want to buy your house on 123 Main Street. I'm a cash buyer. We can buy as is," the typical investor pitch. And then it just has a call to action. Call me right now for a fair offer. Even if you're not looking to sell it, I can at least help you out with the valuation of your home. I'm just trying to get them to call me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want them to, I just want to get the direct mail, the direct response piece to say, hey, no matter what, just call me. Even if you don't want to sell, call me and I can help you out with the valuation of your home. I just want to try to get that phone to ring. But the only postcards have only been like the yellow, ugly postcards, kind of without urgent notice, or just handwritten. Like, they look like I wrote a handwritten postcard. There's no urgent notice or anything on it.
Okay, Greg, do you happen to have the postcard handy? Could you just read? Is it short? Could you just read it quickly?
Sure. Let's talk about Fernandez Avenue. And then I have the seller's name, seller's address, typical. Then I have the return address. And then it says, "Hi, my name is Greg. I want to buy your property at Fernandez Avenue. I'm a local cash buyer who will buy the home in as-is condition. I'm not a realtor, so you will not pay any commissions or fees. If you would like a quick, no-hassle offer, please give me a call at any time so we can talk about your property. Please call me anytime. Phone number. Thank you."
Okay. Can you hold it up?
Sure.
Perfect. And can you flip it over? Great. Okay.
Got some doodles on it.
For those of you driving in your car who can't see that, if you just want to go to bradchandler.com/3, you'll be able to view this online. So the postcard is your standard postcard. It's certainly not hurting you. That's not the issue. Could the postcard be better? Yes. Good copy speaks more to solving their problem. So everyone makes a buying decision because of an internal problem and an external problem. The external problem is they want to sell their house. The internal problem is they want to sell because they're scared, they're afraid, they're embarrassed when their friends come over. A number of different emotions. So you want to talk to those emotions more. We're doing a test right now. So in the next couple podcasts, stay tuned because I'll tell you the results. But I took a postcard and I made it into a 6x11 postcard and almost made it like a letter on the postcard. And I took some of the greatest copywriters' advice and put it in there, and it really spoke to the person. So we'll see that. Again, we don't have a ton of time today, so I want to stay kind of high level. The postcard isn't your problem. So you've got a decent list, you've got a decent message, and your consistency is there. So now the next thing I want to know about is your follow-up process. So you've got do you have a website, Greg?
No.
Okay, no website. So I would definitely recommend your guy spending $2,000 a month. You should definitely have a website. It builds credibility. You're young. You want to be in this business for a long time. You've told me that your goal is to, it sounded like create wealth through taking the cash that you make from flipping houses and putting it into apartments, which is really smart strategy. I love it. I would not advise doing that on the single family side, meaning rentals, but we'll get to that in another day, another topic. The yields for single families just aren't what most people think they are. So you're a young guy. You're obviously super aggressive. You've made some great things happening while being in school. So you need a website. So one of the first things I would tell you, and it's not gonna move the needle, but it's almost like I'm teaching you how to build a house. Let's get the foundation set first. So part of a foundation in any business is the website. You got to have a website today. So you can go out there and you can pay $5,000, $10,000 to get someone to develop a website, or you can go get one pre-built. I am partial to On Carrot. I think they have the best websites. They're like $99 a month. I will put a link in the show notes. So if anyone wants to check that out. So get your website up and running. Back to follow-up systems. What are you doing in terms of follow-up?
Okay. So now that the pipeline's filling up with leads, I've always been using Podio ever since I got started. I learned that from Sean Terry back a year and a half ago, and I all the gurus say fortunes in the follow-up, and every podcast I listen to, that's the same thing they always say. And so for follow-ups, I usually call all my prospects once a month. And in Podio, they're tagged as like a, warm lead, cold lead, offer made, follow up. They're all systematized in Podio. But I try to hit everyone once a month. And it's funny you're talking about follow ups because I just kind of found my first mini hire the other day. A dude called my bandit sign, and he was like, he wasn't a seller, and he was saying he was new. So, I've actually had some experience with some sales training now with John Martinez. So I've really been diving into that. And I was like telling him how important it is that you need to know how to talk to sellers. And then I kind of brought up the fact, hey, maybe you can call some of my old leads and I can systematize it in Excel for you, and I can make it simple, and I can teach you how to talk to sellers, and I can provide value to you, and you can help me out. So I have a guy actually following up with sellers as we speak right now, all old leads that were, from like a year ago. And then he basically goes in and he calls a seller, and then every time he picks the phone up, he types in what the outcome was. If it was a voicemail, if it was not looking to sell, and then any hot lead that's still looking for because the big thing when I'm following up is I just want to see if someone's still looking for an offer. Because at that point, I'd go on the appointment and I would take them down the sales process route. So that's my big thing. I don't really do any email. I'm starting to get more emails now as the leads are coming in because we're asking the question the right way. I used to say, hey, what's your email address? And they would tell me, that's none of your business. And now I'm like, hey, when we email or when we give you your offer, what's the best email? And then they're going to, I'm telling them why I want their email, and they're giving it to us now. So that texting, I want to start to do some slide broadcasts, especially because my pipeline's filling up. I have like 350 leads in there now. But in short summary, it's just phone call once a month, touching base with them.
Okay, so you just said a lot of great things I want to touch on. So John Martinez, he's a game changer. We've used him. Awesome dude. Did I recommend him, or did you find him somewhere else?
Justin Williams talked about him, and then on one of his podcasts, and then it was like the perfect fit for me because I was really lost and I didn't know what I was doing, and then I got into that training, and I'm pretty close with John now. Me and him have done some training for the last couple of months. He's been huge help, and it's going to, probably be one of the best decisions I've ever made in terms of the sales stuff.
Yep. So John, like I said, John's a buddy of mine, a game changer guy, just a solid family guy. Awesome. The best I've ever seen in sales. He offers my podcast listeners a 50% discount off his coaching. So I'm going to put that in the show notes for all the listeners out there. So once a month follow-up. Great. I want to get a little more granular, but before I do, the email thing, absolutely. I was going to offer that same advice. Ask them for an email. You've got to be pinging them with emails. Let's go back. So a lead comes in today, and since you don't have any online leads, the phone's going to ring.
Okay.
Let's say that right now the phone rings and you don't answer it because you're on this podcast. What's a follow-up from there?
Well, I hired Pat. Pat Live answers my phone calls. So phone rings, Pat Live picks it up because that was something I was scared to do. But then I was watching one of your Facebook live streams and you were like just harping on live answer. And these other investors in my area kept hammering me like, you got to answer live, you got to answer live. So now I have Pat Live. They pick the phone up. They see what's going on. If it's an actual lead, not somebody who wants to get removed, they put him in the database. They run him through a very short script. And then, once that gets put in Podio, say I'm, doing a podcast with you now, when we're done, I would call him back. And at that point, I just try to diagnose the prospect. I say, okay, is this person, really got to sell? Do I have to ask them some sales questions to see if they have any type of reason to sell the house? Or is this something?
Greg, sorry to cut you off, but let's get really, what I want to know is the call comes in now. When are you calling them back? And then what happens if you don't reach them? How many times are you touching them?
I'm calling them back as soon as I see my phone. Like, even, I don't care if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, any day of the week. I'm calling them back once I see it. If they don't answer, I leave a voicemail, and then I go into Evernote. And I every contact, like if it's like a number that I don't recognize, I save them as some type. I make something that I can remember. I save them in my phone, and then the next day I go into Evernote and I add them to my call block for the day, and I put them in my call block. And I literally will not stop calling them until they pick the phone up. So say they don't answer, leave a voicemail, call them the next day, and usually they pick up, especially if they reach out to me. But I just will not stop pushing them until I speak to them to see if there's anything I can do for them.
So does that mean you'll make 75 phone calls if you have to? Where does it stop?
It stops probably after, if I'm really trying to hammer someone and I'm trying to go after them and really see if they can answer the phone, I'll probably go a week and a half to 2 weeks straight of like calling and then hanging up and then leaving a voicemail and then texting them. And then after like a week and a half, I just put them in the Podio as a follow-up, and I'll tag in Podio, like called 12 days straight, no answer, no text. He lives on 123 Main Street. And then he becomes part of the 1 month trip follow-up. So my guy will go in and he's getting touch. He's trying to get a touch as much as he can in order for us to see if we can do anything with him.
Back to follow-up. That is amazing. Like you just keep calling. What happens if they call Pat Live and they hang up? Do you get those hang up calls?
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you do with those disconnect calls?
If they call Pat Live and they say they don't want to sell a house and they remove me, then that's in the web form, and then I just get them off the mailing list. But if they call and they hang up, I'll get the email on my phone right away, and I'll just keep hammering them. I just keep hammering them until I talk to them. Because if Pat Live can't, answer the phone or they hang up right away, and that happens quite a bit, especially when you're sending a lot of mail, I just save them in my phone as whatever. Like if I don't know their name, I'll like look at something in my room and then I'll say, oh, this is the textbook missed call, and I'll save it so I know who I'm calling, and I will not stop calling them until they answer. And I say, hey, this is Greg from Velocity House Buyers. Are you looking to sell a house? And then I go from there. But every single lead that comes in tries to get contacted by me, and I try to do whatever I can to get that person to see if I can do something for them.
So awesome. That's awesome. We actually closed 10 deals last year, probably made $250,000 on calling back missed phone calls. So investors out there, if you're not calling back missed phone calls, you're really missing the boat. So again, you're doing a lot of the right things. Not having a website means that they can't fill out a form, which means they can't put in their email, which means that you can't follow up with them via email, that is, until you actually talk to them. We close so many deals in a given year via email. When a lead comes in, we touch them 14 times in the first 4 days, and then they're put into a campaign with text, voicemail, and emails forever. So,
oh my God.
Again, this is the greatest time in the world to do this, because you can do that inside Podio for next to nothing. 20 years ago, it might have cost you $50,000 to do this. Now you can do it in Podio or Zoho or Sugar CRM for $20, $30, $40 a month. So for those of you who are in the business struggling or thinking about getting into the business, I tell this to our meetup group all the time. I tell this to wholesale students all the time. The first thing you do is you set up a kick-ass follow-up system. Do not spend a dime until you have a kick-ass follow-up system. Greg, you've got parts of it. You don't have the website in there, so you're missing that piece of it because you're missing the whole email. So set up your follow-up system, which you can probably do in a weekend. Then start marketing, because I guarantee you we've lost millions of dollars, and that's not an exaggeration. We lost millions of dollars because up until 5 years ago, we had a crappy follow-up system. It is a absolute game changer. The other thing that you're missing on the website is credibility. People, that's number one. Number two, people come into your site putting in their email. Number three, the people who come to your website and they don't fill out a form or they don't call you, you can retarget them through Google AdWords and through Facebook so that your ad goes into their stream on Facebook, actually on their wall. And it's much, much, much cheaper than any marketing medium out there. So you've got to really get that, you got to get that website set up. I would probably literally do that, say the next week I'm going to get that done. So just kind of wrapping up kind of your issues and your obstacles. You're doing some amazing things, Greg. You're doing a lot of things that other investors aren't doing. The lead follow-up, the consistency, even the messaging is fine. You're missing the website. And then you just have to do more of what you're doing. So you got to continue working with John and get really good on the phone, closing people, both on the phone and in person. But if you're spending $2,000 a month and you're getting a deal every other month, that's exactly where we're in line with. And we spend close to $2 million a year in marketing. So we're pretty good at it. And that's our cost. And we have the best follow-up systems in the world. So you're really not far off. You just need to do more of what you're doing. And by the way, how much is your average profit? Do you know what the two deals that you got this year, what profit on each deal those were?
One of them was, one of them was 15 on a wholesale. The other one's a $5,000 wholesale. And then the other one was...
Let's just stop there. So $18,000, or did you say 13 and 5? Or 15
one was
and 5?
15, one was 15, one was 5.
Okay,
and
so
then
$20,000 through May. That's not even 5 months. So we got to go with 4 months. So you spend $8,000, and guess what? You've gotten back $20,000. If I said to you now, Greg, wire me $8,000, and in the next 5 months, I promise you I'll wire back $20,000. Would you do it?
I would do that every day of the week.
You do it every day of the week. It's a 2.5 multiple, so it's not exceptional, but it's a return. So if you want to get into the 4X, 5X where we are, you just need to hone some of the things that I'm saying, because you've got a lot of these parts, but you're missing some integral parts. So once you get the website, once you get the retargeting set up, once you start capturing email addresses, once you get this follow-up system really dialed in, you're doing all of the things right. You just need to do more of them and then further dial in what you're currently doing. And you will, I guarantee it, if I could bet on you, I would bet money that at the end of the year, you're consistently doing 1 to 2 deals a month if you're following the things that I just said.
Okay. I will take action on all that advice. I just wrote website down right in front of me. I was like kind of teetering on it. It's funny. I was like, because I really like, especially now, like I'm still new and I'm very like, try to be very conservative with my cash flow and the ad money. Like I got some money in the business bank account and I'm like, oh, should I just do a Carrot website right now and spend $450? Or should I, delay it and wait for a couple of deals to come through the pipeline? And like, I've been sitting on the fence for a website for the last like 2 months. So I got to just do it now.
You got to do it. You're not in the business to make a quick buck and then go, sell cars or whatever. You're trying to build a long-term sustainable business. And I can tell you that we have our domain authority, as far as I know, is the best across the entire United States for not only investors, but national lead aggregators. We're better. Why are we better? Because I've been working on the freaking thing for 13 years. So is it going to take you 13 years? Maybe not, but it's going to take you time. Like you just can't flip on a website. And if you follow what OnCarrot says about building SEO and backlinks and how to optimize your pages, they literally give it for the one price, the monthly price. They give you all of this training. That literally should be either a VA or, at least 4 or 5, 10 hours a week. Someone should be working on your website, because you're going to see, there's a guy in your area that I know, a good buddy of mine. Dave Brown. He does.
I'm really good with Dave. I've done deals with him. Great guy.
Where does he get all his deals from?
He is the online king. SEO. Yeah, that's funny.
So if you're an investor and you're not doing that, you got to do it. And Trevor's the best out there. So Greg, I hope that was helpful to you. You're rocking and rolling. Keep it up, and let's keep in touch. And because of our website so powerful, we get leads. I know I've sent you a number of leads. I know you're working them hard. So hopefully we'll close our first deal here soon and do many more to come.
That's it. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for being a guest on our show today, Greg, and take care.
See you, Brad.
Thank you for listening to this episode. It's now time to take action. Text the word INVEST to 855-999-1616 and get a free guide teaching you how to qualify, schedule, and close more deals faster with the Advanced Agreement, the technique we use to do 20-plus wholesale deals per month. Also, go to bradchandler.com/podcast to apply to be a guest on this podcast. You'll receive a 30-minute coaching session with Brad, a $1,000 value for free.